I know buying Pokemon cards is super easy. However, what about actually selling them? This is a topic that not too many people discuss at all because it seems it's a bit of a forgotten part of the whole journey. Now, if you're anything like me, you do tend to create a strong level of attachment to your collectibles, and you also know the painful amounts of research and time commitment it takes to build your collection. Though selling your collection is incredibly important as well, and when you've made some decent profit, it can be a good idea to liquidate some of your collection. So in this video, I do want to go over when is the right time to sell some of your collections or investments. Now, I suppose the idea and the mind frame of this video is to think strategically when you're selling, and I'll be going over some concepts that I've learned and some inputs that I've learned along the way and from books and things I've read, so you can actually get a decent answer on this topic and it's not some generic answer. What I probably should clarify is that this video is mainly for collectors or investors who've spent years building their collections and are now considering taking profits from a position of choice and not really necessity. If you're facing something like a job loss or whatever, something that needs urgent funds, in those situations, selling your collection is very straightforward and it's the right decision to do. It's definitely the responsible choice in that kind of circumstance. I mean, life can hit hard, dude. Honestly, don't stress. I'm not trying to be like preaching to you from like some ivory tower. Life's hit me rough as well a lot of the time. So a lot of long time viewers know that as well. And I've sold some of my collection and items when I needed that as well. So you should never regret selling when it's done to support yourself or your family. Though I suppose the key point of this video is really if you're not actually in a position where you need to sell, you're just sitting on some decent profit and you're considering, should I sell? Like, is this worth it? And that's where I think this video is going to be super helpful. A key area I want to discuss is having a purpose for selling. Now, this is the main focus you want to drill in on, and I want to tell you why a purpose helps you so much and why you won't actually regret selling later if you sold for a specific purpose. Now, I want to tell you the story of when I actually sold my Gengar VMAX from Fusion Strike versus when I sold my complete in-box Soul Silver with the Pokewalker as well. And there's a huge difference in how I feel later down the line with these sales. And I'm trying to give you these examples to show you the difference in all about the feeling of regret later. And it's likely if you had this same pathway, you probably understand this as well. So the reason why selling when you have a purpose is important is because it essentially is the antidote to any regret later down the line. So as you know, if you sell a chase card today, a very desired chase card, there is a very high likelihood that a year from today, or 2, even 5 years later down the line, that it could have ballooned in price. And a big reason why a lot of us avoid selling is because we don't want that feeling of regret, because a lot of us have confidence in Pokemon products. And you know, I know that you probably think that, hey, if I do sell one of my top chase cards, it's likely it's going to be much more expensive later down the line. Well, I've actually found by having a purpose for a sale, it actually helps that a lot. So I mentioned the Gengar VMAX and the Pokemon Soul Silver just before. So in 2024, I sold my Gengar VMAX because I was pursuing growing this channel actually. And at the time I wanted to upgrade some of my equipment and I needed some funds for that. Now the money that I got from when I sold the Gengar VMAX, along with some other collectibles as well, that all went to fund my vision and my dream that I had for the channel. So even though the Gengar VMAX is far more expensive today than what I sold it for, I don't have any regrets. It has zero effect on me because I know that sale had a reasoning for it. I just say thank you because without that sale, I probably wouldn't have been able to achieve what I wanted at that time. So there was a reason for it, so there's no regret. Though in 2017, I was in a bit of my eBay selling mode and I just started listing things because I was doing a bit of like a spring clean, right? And then I had my complete in-box Soul Silver with a Pokewalker, and I honestly love that game so much, but I thought, I really haven't played Pokemon for a while. I'm just gonna sell it, just because. And the problem here is I sold it literally like just for a laugh, for kicks. I mean, I was just decluttering and I thought, why not? Let's just sell this on eBay. Now, when I actually listed it on eBay, I had this weird feeling like I was like, I don't really want to let this go. And I just put it on auction and it sold for like 50 USD. Now, if you're looking at prices today for Soul Silver complete in box with a Pokewalker, prices have gone up astronomically since that sale in 2017. But the reason why this stings so much more is because I literally sold this for no reason other than the fact that I thought, oh yeah, why not? So this is a really important area to cover because if you just sell for just because, you can end up regretting it later down the line due to that reason. It's actually a real integral part when it comes to selling your collectibles. And a lot of people actually miss that. They just think, oh, you know, if I sell my Umbreon VMAX, if I sell my Terastal Festival PSA 10 Umbreon, I'm gonna regret that later down the line. Oh, my Mewtwo. And yeah, you may regret it, but I can promise you if you sell because you're going for a life vision or there's a purpose for it, that regret will literally go away because you know it fulfilled something. And that's super important because even though I can now go buy my Soul Silver complete in box, it really does sting now because, like I said, there was no reason why I had to sell it. I was young, I was just being a banana, and now I'm paying the price for that. You know what I mean? Now, by the way, while discussing the Pokemon hobby, there's always new tools popping up, and that's why I do want to talk about today's video sponsor, Double Holo. At its core, Double Holo functions as a competitive marketplace where collectors can buy and sell cards, and right now it's an incredibly competitive platform with only 4.9% seller fees. Though where Double Holo really begins to shine is with its clever premium features. One premium feature that's super useful is the AI pick section. So instead of spending hours trying to research market trends yourself, here it collates key info and showcases you the top 10 cards to look out for and the top 10 cards to avoid. Now, a lot of collectors wonder if a particular booster pack is worth opening. Well, that's actually where the premium tool pack value comes in. So this compares the expected value, or the EV, of a booster pack against its real market price. Now, what's so cool, if you do want to try out these features, you can get a 30% discount off your first month by using the promo code on screen. All the links and details are in the video's description. A major shout out to Double Holo for supporting the channel. Now let's jump back into this video. Now, an area I want to discuss is understanding your goals, and more so the reason for selling in terms of life purposes and life vision. So if you've read the book Grit from Angela Duckworth, it's a book that talks about the concept of grit, which is pushing through and doing hard things in order to achieve things. Now, the book's, it's got a lot of valuable information, though whether or not it's an enjoyable read, that's really up to you. A lot of people just blow it off its head and say, oh my gosh, Grit, it's the most amazing book. Honestly, it's a tough book to read. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like I'm one of the only guys that's gonna be real with you and say that it is a wordy book. It's tough to kind of get through, but nonetheless, there's a lot of good concepts if you can synthesize the information in the book. Now, the author explains that we actually have like different goals in life, or different tiers of goals. So we have our low-level goals, our mid-level goals, and top-level goals, which is essentially your core life purpose. Now, I can only assume that your major top overarching life goal is not just to have some crazy Pokemon collection, but rather you have other aspirations, which a lot of us, the reason why we're investing in, we love our collectibles. Yes, there's that fun enjoyment, but obviously we all have big overarching goals that we want to achieve in our life. Now, the simple rule that I've found, and it works really well when it's time to sell, especially if you're dealing with a very expensive collection, it helps if one of those sales helps pursue or helps you achieve one of your big overarching life goals, or if it goes towards that. For example, if you sold a decent portion of your collection and that would allow you to afford a down payment for a home, then you've made a fantastic decision, as it's aiding you in your top level goal. Now, if you have been enjoying the video and you do like content like this, you can check out a lot of the videos on my channel. If it is your first time here, my name is Phil and I do cover topics around the Pokemon market and Pokemon investing. Honestly, if the content fits your vibe, feel free to subscribe. I mean, it's pretty crazy, but I actually know some people who could sell their collections and they could even potentially pay off their entire mortgages, which is really insane to think about. It really depends on what your overarching goal is, but this is so important. And honestly, man, like I'm actually talking to you straight right now. If you do, and this is so important, this is why you need to have goals in life, because when you know your North Star and what you're actually trying to achieve, you can then liquidate that collection. And then all those feelings like, oh, I'm gonna regret this, you're not gonna regret it if it goes to those overarching top level goals in your life. These are things that are really personal to you. Owning a home, traveling, marriage, wedding, these things are so important. These are the reason why we live. These are the things that give your life so much color. And that is when you sell your collection. In my opinion, that's when it works really well, because we're all building these collections that mean so much to us. And I know my collection, it's like part of my heart and soul goes into so much into building my collection. The connections I've made with those Pokemon, the memories as a kid that I had, the video games, all of that comes in, and it comes into this world where I collect and I get to express myself with that. But I know if I sell and it's going towards one of my big overarching life visions, then I know it's a fantastic reason to let go of those collectibles. And that's why it's so important. Write down, figure out your North Star, figure out your goals in life, because then you can know and you can actually have a real easy way of saying, hey, I'm liquidating this now because it's actually going to my life purpose. And there's been times when I've actually sold some of my collection. So last year, a lot of long-time viewers on the channel would know, but I had my wedding, right? And I actually set up a stream, and during that stream, I just started selling a lot of my personal collection, and I was just auctioning things off for $1. And I told all my stream, I'm like, hey, chat, I'm literally selling all this because it is my wedding, and I couldn't wait because for that night of my wedding, I was so excited for the traveling with my wife, spending it with the person I'm so happy to be with for the rest of my life. I was thrilled to let go of my collection. And you know what? I haven't even checked, but I know that a lot of the cards I sold, they're way more expensive today in that stream. But like I said, none of that bothers me because I was selling it for my overarching life vision, my marriage, the commitment I had to another individual. That was such an important thing for me. So selling those was it was one of the best streams I've had in my life, not because of the money that it was getting made, but because it was such good vibes. Everyone was like, oh, Phil, we're so excited for you. The reason why the stream was so good is because it was going for that overarching life vision that I had. It was going to my marriage, to the person that I wanted to marry, right? So Chanel and I, we were so excited. And then after the stream, I'm like, oh, look, Chanel, this is all going to the wedding. So all that money that I sold in the stream, that was going to the bar tab that night and enjoying myself and my honeymoon. And that was the purpose for those sales. That's what I feel when you sell your collection. If it does go towards those big things, those things that mean something to you, it makes the world of difference, man. It really does. And that's why I do want to, especially for my audience and you, the person watching right now, I do want to make sure that I'm guiding you in that direction that, hey, if you are going to sell something and it's going towards one of your life visions, do it without regret. Sell it. Arigato. Hey, thank you for the time you've spent with me. Hey, that PSA 10 slab I'm selling maybe later down the line will be 3, 4, 5 times worth the price of today, but it doesn't matter because it's going to something that's important to me right now. And that is the most important decision you can make when you sell. And that's why liquidating and selling to go for those dreams and those visions is so important. Hey, maybe if I didn't sell the Gengar VMAX, my channel would still be here. Everything would still be good. But when I sold it, it helped facilitate my channel to get where it is today, especially in those early days. Because if you're creating a channel, a lot of especially if you've ever tried, the early days is the tough part. Once you've established an audience and people come and say, hey, Phil, I like you. Hey, Phil, you're a bit of a banana today. Hey, Phil, you've put on a bit of weight. Where's the gym membership, Phil? You know, a lot of you have said that to me as well. I'm not offended, a little bit maybe, but you know, I've now built a connection with you and it is easier now for me to grow my channel. But back in those early days, it wasn't. I was more nervous. I didn't know how to connect with a lot of you on the camera, right? And that's why it's such an important thing that if you're going for those visions and you're selling for the right reasons, a lot of good things come your way, man. Though the thing is, the selling your collection is a personal choice as well. And the main aspect is that you do want to try build your collection in a way that you have a choice to sell it when you want. And obviously, I don't want to just sound idealistic. Life can hit you. I know that very well. It can be tough, and then you have to sell maybe out of necessity. But I suppose you do want to try put yourself in a position where you never need to sell your collection out of necessity, but rather to fill your life visions. I think the key point about this video is that selling needs to be a decision that you make and a personal decision. And ideally, you do want to avoid regret. And like I said, with all those ways that I mentioned in this video, if you position yourself, you can avoid all that regret by going for those overarching top level goals. Though I suppose collecting in this climate today, it is very challenging, and that is because of the price of collectibles. But if you do want to know the best way to collect Pokemon cards on a budget, there's actually 2 videos that are appearing on screen right here where I cover how to collect Pokemon cards on a budget. If you love this video, you're really going to love any one of these 2 videos appearing right now. I really appreciate you watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.